Hello, um, my name's DJ Veller. I'm with the band Event. Typically, I'm doing Twitch streams of live in the studio. This time around, I decided to offline record a short tutorial. And this is around a new plugin from Waves, and it's called Curves Resolve. And being an FLStudio aficionado, most of my work is in FLStudio. I was excited to get this plugin because the goal of it, and there are plenty of other tutorials there on the web about what it does, introducing the plugin. But mostly what I want to focus on is how to use it in FLStudio, because for me, it was a little bit of a learning curve. I searched the web for tutorials. There is one out there. It was a little helpful, but I wanted to sort of provide something with a little bit more detail, hopefully to help others out who were in the same boat I was. So taking a look here at the whole field of play for FLStudio, I have a fairly large nice widescreen monitor. So my display sort of covers a large area. So I will be sort of scanning in on subsections on how to use the plugin. Part of it is going to be dealing with an ambient piece I'm working on that has a lot of dense sounds. And the whole point of the Curves Resolve is sort of as an intelligent ducking system. So you can take one channel and feed it into the other, and it'll sort of carve out frequencies so they're not colliding. So let's take a look at some of the sounds that I have. So one of the key things on this is I started out with this UVI drone sound. So we'll take a listen to that. And I wanted to do it sort of down low here. So if we look at that with the frequency monitor, you can see it's got a pretty wide range and some big points down between 60 and 125. So what I wanted to do is layer in another instrument. And this was another UVI plugin, and I really love this one. It's called Vocalum. It's samples of voices that are sort of combined in a synth way, but you'll get an idea here of sound of that. And taking a look at the frequency on that, that one's very dense. So if we combine the two, you can see there's sort of a lot of almost too much going on in the same space. The drone probably is interfering with some of the harmonics of the voice, or you could argue the reverse, but we're going to play with it with the drone as the beginning. And this is what Curves Resolve is all about. So first thing we have to do is take a look at the mixer, and we are going to have the drone is on channel 5, and we have our vocal plug-in on 6, and I also have on 7 sort of an ambient piece that we may also want to sort of layer some frequencies out on. So we'll take our drone track. I've already added a Curves Resolve on it. So I will switch over here to see the actual plugin on the track. And the first thing that comes up when you see it is that you've got sort of an empty space. It says route sidechain audio from the tracks you want to protect. And this is where I was sort of, okay, that's easy to do in FLStudio. So I pick the track that I want, and I have it routed to a bus here. So I have sort of 4 main buses for the types of sound groups that I have. The drone is running to bus 1. A couple of things are running to vocal accents, and then the quadros are running to this one. But so I'm going to suggest select this, which is our voice up here, our vocalum, and I'm going to click the little up arrow here and right click, and it says side chain to this track. So I've completed a side chain from that to there. And so the first problem I was looking at was, okay, I did that. I know how to sidechain in FLStudio. But I went over to the app and it doesn't seem like anything's happening. I'm not seeing any audio. And this is where sort of have to learn the idiosyncrasies of FLStudio's configuration. So you click the little gear icon here, and you have to go to plugin settings, and then you have to go to processing. And stereo in is sort of the main signal, and stereo aux in, even though it's not implicit, is actually where your sidechain's coming in. So you turn that on. We'll go back to the plugin. However, I still couldn't find how to get signal in there. And the trick was that you go to the aux in and you set it to channel 1. Now, it seems a little confusing because you're just like, okay, why am I picking a channel 1? And you see, we'll show that it works, because now this is your sidechain signal up here, and if we hit play, our drone signal, which is the main channel audio, is down here. Okay. And so you have a lot of options here. I'm not going to go into learning the Curves program, but they're all training everything. But the main dial here is sort of controls how much effect you're going to get. So what you'll see is when I start playing the drone and I play the voice, this blue area is the frequency adjustment on the drone. The frequency adjustment on the drone that is being down modulated to make room for this. So we get back to sort of the Fruity Loops processing, which at first seemed like a lot of work. And you'll see here, what does this 1 and 2 mean? Well, that is the side chains that you have coming in. So I have another side chain I actually forgot to turn off, which is why there was 2 there. So now I have one side chain active. You see that you basically only have channel 1. So the number here actually is representing the order of the side chains that are coming in. So you see that if I click this one, that's side chained already. If I click this track and I side chain it to it, I now have 2 available. And if I take a third track and I side chain to it, see, now I have 3 available. So this number is selecting which of the side chains is. Now, the problem would be is if you had all 3 side chains going in and active, so only one's active at any one time. So you say, how does that help me? Well, it helps you because if you really want to do a complex cutting out, so what we're going to do is take this actually we'll take this one. So I'm going to go back to this track and I'm going to add a second curves. And we're going to do the same thing here. Go to processing, turn on the stereo aux in, but I'm not going to do 1, I'm going to do 2. I'm going to go back. Now, so now we have the drone track, and we now have 2 different ducking algorithms, which are specialized to the input, which is actually a brilliant configuration. Because now I could have maybe 4 tracks all coming into the drone and each asking for their own frequency space to be carved out of that drone space. So if I go to the voice, and we'll have to go back here and make sure we are reactivated on 1 because that's our first. And then we can turn off this, oops, go back here. Okay, so now we'll listen to our sound again. Now we have that one. And from my other keyboard, I can do this. So we'll turn up the ducking here. Let's do some algorithm learning. Now we have this really sort of cool control, which we can go back and forth between just a steady curve, or we can have it responding to it. But if this is something, a loop that's running in the background, we're going to want it to maybe be more on the steady side. If I'm playing something here, we can let it learn a bit. And then we want to maybe make that more on the dynamic side. So now from a global point of view, move these over a little bit. I'll play the song. Our drone is in both here. So now we're going to have our 2 instruments from the 2 different side chains coming in. And that's pretty much where you have it. So you now have, taking a look back at the mixer, you now have your primary track. You have two different resolves on it. You have this side chain is the first side chain going to your drone. This one is your second side chain going to your drone. And we have two completely independently programmable complex ducking that takes place on it. So I hope this helps and clarifies some things and maybe opens up some doors on how you can create a more complicated side chaining with 1, 2, or 3 tracks, all with independent controls going into the single track that you want to frequency control. So again, my name's DJ Valor. If you found this really helpful, leave me a comment. I might do more of these because usually by teaching is the one way I actually learn. So going through this is actually helpful to understand, the best way of setting these up. Also on my channel, you can find links to my band and other videos I've done. And at some point, I will get back to making live Twitch streams. But I have a backlog of projects here that I'm working on. So this being one of them as part of my music for art installation series. You could look up Event Music 2021 on Bandcamp and catch my stuff there. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.